Hi and welcome to my channel, I'm Simon, and today I'm back with the mid-year freakout tag. And I do not do tags that often, but I have seen Jaylen and Grace today and it's tipped me over the edge. It's tipped me over the edge to want to make my own one, and I've got quite a few, including Lauren's, and who else have I got on the list? Anyway, I've got quite a few to watch as well, and I thought, oh, do you know what? I want to join in with this fun, and I do love this time of year, although as Grace put it, it's not technically the middle of the year, and I am a bit crazy about things like that. Like, I always make sure that my books of the year video is on the last day of the year. It used to sometimes stray into the first day of the next year. Wrong. Anyway, for me. But also I don't normally do tags because I think they can sometimes be a bit of a popularity contest, but I tag all of you if you would like to do it. So let's get cracking on with the responses to this tag. So the first question is book of the year so far, which I'm not going to tell you yet because my books of the year so far video is going to go live probably not next week, the week after. I don't think there's going to be any that I read in the next week or so that are going to topple it off, although I do like to do it after that point for that possible potential reason. But yeah, actually I can't talk about one of them either until after the 1st of July anyway, so there we go. I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to wait and see that. I'm going to be contrary fairy as I want to be, and you'll just have to wait for that. But on to question 2, best sequel you've read this year, and I'm going to say it is Take a Hint, Dani Brown, which I don't actually have with me. It is the sequel to Get a Life, Chloe Brown, but not the prequel exactly, but the one before, the third in the trilogy, Actual Age, Evie Brown. I've been reading these with Becca of Becca in the Books. We've been reading romance books together for the last couple of months, and it has been really, really good fun, and I really, really, really enjoy them. I like this one a lot. I thought Take a Hint, Dani Brown was even better, so much so that I've given that steamy treat to Melanie. So she has got my copy of that, and I hope that she enjoys it very, very much. Then we have new release you haven't read yet but want to. Now I have 5 here, so I'm cheating a little bit. So firstly, 2 debuts, one of which is King of Rabbits by Karla and Neblett, which is all about rural poverty, which is something I don't think we talk about enough, but it's also about nature and the power of nature, and sounds just my kind of thing. So I'm really, really cross with myself that I haven't read this one yet because I really, really want to. I had the pleasure of interviewing her for a industry event, and she was fantastic. The other one is The Other Black Girl by Zakiya, Dalila Harris, I've been really, really wanting to get to this one. There can only be one of us. It's meant to be quite twisty and quite unsettling, but also very much about race in America particularly right now, and I'm really, really intrigued for this. It's set in the publishing industry too, so want to read that one. And then 2 fictions by authors that I love that I'm just shocked I haven't got to. One of them is John McGregor's Lean Full Stand. I love his writing, and this one has been languishing and I need to get to it because I also know my mum really wants a copy of that. And Male Tears by Benjamin Myers, his short story collection that actually looks like that. I need to get a finished copy of because I do really, really like it. But I haven't got around to this one yet, and I'm very, very, very much ashamed of myself because I absolutely love him. This happens to me though with authors that I love. I get really nervous about their next book. Nearly just lost my nose piercing there. Sorry, it was itching. Oh, re-piercing live, nice. Anyway. And the non-fiction is also an author that I love, and this is the 3rd in a trilogy, so the final book in that trilogy, and I think that's what's held me off. It's Deborah Levy's Real Estate, which is her living autobiography, and I've read the first 2 of those this year and absolutely blinking loved them, so I do need to get to this quite quickly really, because as a group I think they could potentially be very high on my books of 2021 list. Oh, what a teaser. Oh, what a tease. Then we have most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Definitely without question, fiction-wise, The Island of Missing Trees by Elif Shafak. I don't know much about this at all. I don't want to know much about it at all before I read it. I just want to get into it and get lost in Elif's amazing words and writing. I absolutely loved 10 minutes and 38 seconds in this strange world, and really, really loved How to Stay Sane in an Age of Division, which was a little non-fiction pocketbook of power. Very excited for this one. Also, I should mention Bernardine Evaristo's manifesto, which is non-fiction. I'm looking forward to that. As I am non-fiction wise, Dear Senthuran, a Black Spirit memoir by Akwaeke Emezi. I love their writing. I think this is going to be phenomenal and I need to get on it once we've got past the 1st of July. Oh, and one other one, which I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also really nervous about it because if it's like one of the author's books, I'll love it. And if it's like the other one, I might not. The author is Sally Rooney. This is Beautiful World, Where Are You? Her third novel. Everyone's very, very excited about it. I should say I love Mr. Salary as well, her short story. But I wasn't a fan of Conversations with Friends as much as I was Normal People, which I absolutely loved. And I wonder if I'd read Conversations with Friends first, it might be a different story. I mean, we'll never know. But yeah, so I've heard this one's a little bit more Conversations with Friends. So yeah. Well, I'm not allowed to talk about it until September anyway, so you probably won't hear me talk about it before then, because those of us have had signed NDAs. So there we are. Anyway, next question. Biggest disappointment of the year. And at first I was like, oh, I don't think there is one. Then I realised there are 4. The first of which I DNF'd, and that is Christopher Isherwood's Mr. Norris Changes Trains. I was so excited for this. I loved A Single Man, and Isherwood is an author that I feel like I want to read his whole back catalogue because of the queer history within it and the fact he was writing these books at a time when people weren't. And yeah, so sadly for me, this felt like it should have been a short story that was really, really padded out. It was a bit strangers on a train, how they kind of get invested in each other's lives, set in Germany with the backdrop of the Nazi movement, and I just found it repetitive and quite boring, and so I gave up on it. So sadly, that was a disappointment. Then Burnt Sugar, which I thought was going to be one of my absolute favourite on the Women's Prize long list, because it's kind of, I don't know, it just felt a real Savage Reads catnip kind of book. Dysfunctional families, set in India, a little bit gothic and prickly, but sadly it was just too distanced and too cold, and I just didn't really care. But I did finish it, to be fair, so yeah, it wasn't that awful. Sadly, another DNF was You Exist Too Much by Zaina Arafat. I read this for my Reading for Pride, Reading with Pride weekly reading vlog, which I'll link down below, and I had to DNF it, and I was really excited for this one as well. I picked this up in Gaze the Word. It was all about an American Palestine woman. I really wanted to read more about the culture of Palestine, and there's a lot of that in there, which is the bit I really enjoyed. Sadly, the present day story of somebody with love addiction who ended up getting treatment for it and going on a rehab. I just find that whole story quite boring anyway as a trope, and this just didn't really provide me with anything new, and sadly I just didn't gel with it, so DNF'd it. And then the other one, and this genuinely upset me because I was so disappointed in it and I was so excited for it, and that's Alex Nathan's Sea Change. I enjoyed it, but I thought it was overly long and it was trying to cram in a period of history rather than just take a story set in that period of history. That's how I felt about it. Very much a book of two halves. Sarah Battle is one of the first women to go in an air balloon. There's a tragedy. People think that she's perished, including her daughter who's left in London, but we've discovered that she isn't. She's been taken in by a priest who's an awful man, and his wife, and that bit was gothic and brilliant. The rest of it I just didn't give two hoots about, so there's that. Right, moving on to something a little bit more positive. Hi everyone, it's editing Simon from the future interrupting because I forgot to answer one question, which was biggest surprise of the year so far, and that is the employees. I'm actually twinning with Jaylen because this was, I think, his biggest surprise too, but it's The Employees, a workplace novel of the 22nd century by Olga Ravn, which is translated from the Danish by Martin Aitken, and this is set on a spaceship called the 6000 ship, where humans and humanoids are working together, and there is some kind of creature or some sort of objects that have come onto the ship, and it's told through statements of what happens after they come onto the ship, and it gets darker and darker as you go, but it's also really a look at what it means to be human or not human, the differences between us and the ways in which we're similar with other people, or in some cases humanoids. It's about life, it's about where we are in life and in the world, or even in the universe, I guess, and also about death and grief. So it's a really, really unexpected book, this one, and yeah, I'm annoyed with myself for forgetting, but it's here now. It's made the video late, but never mind. I will hand you over to me, who will now, I think, be talking about a debut author, or new to me author, that I've really, really loved in the first half of the year, although it'll probably be more than one because I cheat at every single question. A debut author slash new to you author who is a favourite. Now, I struggled with this one, but then I was like, because I've loved this book so much. I've not quite found the words for it yet. I haven't reviewed it yet. And I have read it, obviously, but I've not reviewed it yet. Why did I even say that? I haven't reviewed it yet, basically, but I have read it. I just can't quite put it all into words, and that makes me really excited for more of this author's books. And the author is Leonie Ross, and this is This One Sky Day, which is set on the island of Polpo, a fictional island, in the Caribbean, and where everyone has a little something, a little bit of magic. Basically, they're all born with this kind of magic, and we follow these characters on this island throughout a day, where we learn like the whole culture of the island, the history of the island, the politics of the island, loads of the people on the island. It's just incredible. It does take a few chapters to get into, I will say, but overall I absolutely bloody loved it, and I can't wait to read more of her books. I also decided to include an author that wasn't new to me but has been reintroduced to me this year, and that is Sarah Moss. And over the summer I really, really want to read this sort of, I think it's a sort of unofficial trilogy of books, because I just loved Summer Water so much. I loved Ghostfall when I read that a couple of years ago, and I love Cold Earth. So like I said, I've read her works before, but there was something about Summer Water that just took it to a whole new level. And I was like, right, I need to read everything by this author. So these are the three that I'm going to head to. I've also got The Tidal Zone, and then obviously there's some non-fiction from Sarah too. So yeah, I thought I would count that as that. New fictional crush. Okay, we're going to probably talk about things that we've never talked about on this channel before, because I didn't believe in fictional crushes until I read the middle Brown sister book, Take a Hint, Dani Brown, and absolutely fell in love with Zakiya. He is a security guard, he's burly, he's a rugby player, and I was just smitten by him. And reading that book, well, you can see why I passed it on to Melanie. I thought she would enjoy it, because you get to know him very, very, very well, intimately, let's put it like that, and I enjoyed every moment. So let's all move swiftly on. Then we have favourite fictional character, and that would be, now I think it could be both of the main characters actually in this book. And this book, well, we'll talk about this book more in a bit actually, because it comes up with another question. But the characters that I've absolutely fallen in love with this year are Ulysses Temper and Evelyn Skinner, who meet one random night during the war in Italy. It's fate. They strike up this friendship. He's a soldier, she's a older woman who's an art historian who's out in Italy while everything's going on, and she's trying to save the art, because obviously not only is the art being bombed, it's also just being stolen, and while people have the chance. Anyway, they are both some of the most joyous, delightful, wonderful, unforgettable characters I have read, and in fact that could be said for quite a lot of characters in this book indeed. Then we have a book that made you cry, and I think I caught this on camera in, as I mentioned, that Reading with Pride weekly reading vlog. It's The Madness of Grief by the Reverend Richard Coles, which tells of, and it's making me feel upset already, it tells of the last days and the death of his husband, and it literally reduced me to tears, I think within about 10-15 pages, and then at the end it did it again. So that made me cry and is making me feel quite sad thinking about it right now. Book that made me happy, Still Life. The only way that I can describe this book succinctly, that's what I want to say. The only way that I can describe this book succinctly, I want it in the most unsuccinct way of saying that possible. But what could be more on brand than waffle and a tangent from me? Not much. Anyway, the best way to describe this succinctly is it is a book of joy. The end. It made me so happy, so happy, almost every other page. Although actually that book also made me cry. Some happy tears and some sad tears. But I think in terms of crying, I instantly think of sad tears, and yeah, Madness of Grief definitely made me cry with sad tears. A mixture of the two in Still Life. Then we have, penultimately, the most beautiful book that you've read or acquired this year. I have read this book and I love it. And this is nothing to do with the fact that I'm going around to the authors for Sunday lunch on Sunday. That would make sense. Because I can separate between my friendships and people's writing, my friends' writing. And this book is incredible. It's as incredible as the cover, and this is the most beautiful cover. It's Ghosted by Jen Ashworth. I could have got around to that a lot more quickly too than, I went around the houses basically like I did with being unsuccinct about Still Life. But yeah, I mean, that cover is just, I think, absolutely fab. I also, though, wanted to mention another book, which I'm still currently reading. It's taken me a while, actually, but I'm enjoying it immensely. But I would like to finish it before the middle of the year. And that is a book that isn't the most beautiful, but I just think is the most cheeky, brilliant cover that's so apt for the book. And that's Gay Bar, Why We Went Out by Jeremy Atherton Lynn, which has, it has a glory hole on the cover of it. So if you don't know what one of those is, I'm not educating you on that one. You'll have to go and look it up, but watch out with your browser history. I think that's such a fun cover, and so sort of camp in its own way, and so sort of irreverent and naughty, and that is really what this book is about. It's just brilliant so far. So yeah, so there we go. And last but not least, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? How long is a piece of string? There's so many. There's the ones that I've mentioned already that were most anticipated from the first half of the year. I was going to try and read only those books in June. Didn't happen. Where's that gone? I was going to try and cram some in actually last week. No, not doing it because I don't think it's fair on the books or me actually and my reading. Anyway, all the books I mentioned that are most anticipated, all the books that I probably haven't heard of yet and I don't know about. I will say I need to get back on with the classics because I did say I was going to read 40 books by 40 that were kind of classics and modern classics. I don't think I'm going to do it because I've got so much reading for work over the next few months. Like a lot of you, and I've mentioned this a lot recently, seem to think that like I read only for work. That's not true at the moment. I would say it's about 20 to 30%. Over the coming couple of months, it's probably going to be more like 50 to 85% depending on the week, but that's fine, and I'm going to reading vlog it all. It just means that I make the best laid plans don't always go the way you want, and to be fair, giving myself a deadline of under a year to read 40 books was probably quite tight, but I might do it, who knows. I just, at least if I still mix in more into my reading diet, I guess, along with like translated fiction, short story collections, all those things that I always want to read more of and don't, poetry for example, breathe, then we'll do okay. I'm not going to beat myself up about anything to do with books anymore. There's just no point. Although I never really beat myself up. And it's quite funny. I always worry that sometimes when I ask questions about like, oh, what am I doing as a reader? Or, oh goodness, I'm reading a lot for work at the moment. Like, it's not for sympathy or anything, or for you to say, oh Simon, don't give yourself such a hard time, because I'm not. It's literally just because I'm chatting to you about what I'm reading, what's going on with my reading life and all those kind of things. Anyway, I've gone off on a huge tangent that has nothing to do with the mid-year freakout tag. If you've done the mid-year freakout tag, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know any of your thoughts on the books that I've mentioned. Particularly, I would say, my most disappointed reads, because I don't often go at books quite like that. And that was even quite mild anyway. I'm certainly the least savage probably. Anything else and everything else in the comments down below. And I will speak to you all soon. I hope you're all well. I don't normally say that, but I should say that more often. So I hope you're all well. I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.